Hi, hello everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Today, we're going to spend the next hour doing a lot of work. We're going to master things like how to build a lead pipeline and how to generate sales and how to master sales, all of those things lead gen and sales related. So my name is Dora Rankin. I am the founder of Gypsy Soul Coaching and the Women Who Soar Collective. My role is a full suite business coach where I empower women like you to live their purpose and to create their highest earnings potential. Tenure is laundry list background in developing top performing sales leaders in the finance world, in banking, and then managing partner for a fintech startup, taking that from complete white space to an entire national brand. So I spend my days now coaching women just like you, women entrepreneurs that are trying to figure out this roadmap and have a North Star of what they want to do and who they want to sell it to, but they're just not exactly sure how to get there. So one of the big pieces to that is getting clients and lead gen. Another really big piece of that is how to actually convert those potential prospects. So I have done this live a number of times, and I'm giving you lifetime access to this course, this workshop, and it is going to be broken down into 4 classes. I'm going to go through it really quickly, but you can stop and pause and go back and stop and pause and go back and hit rewind. And this is something I want you to really rinse and repeat and do. So this workshop is an hour we're going to spend together. After the workshop, you have access to me in my Facebook group, Women Who Soar Collective. Obviously, you can always reach out to me in the social media world and my website. But I also want to mention that it has been thrown out there to me a million times. Dora, can you give this to me in some type of one-on-one? And in a quick way. And I'm all about sense of urgency. So good there, me too. And I'm all about being proactive. So one of the things that I'm doing is also offering this, what I'm going over with you in the next hour, offering this in a do this together in 3 hours, build out your lead gen, and teach you how to sell. So let's do that too beyond this workshop. So if you go through this workshop and you're like, I need more, but I don't need a whole year with Dora, because that's what I primarily do is 6 months to a year, then let's look at doing a VIP build out your lead gen plan. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and deal with me and some of my tech issue. I'm in my 40s, so you have to understand that when I do tech and I are sometimes we don't get along. So I think you can see this, which is great. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit my little slideshow presenter view. Oopsies. Nope, not that one. Oh boy, now I'm really in trouble. It says loading. Yay, this is exactly what I want. So there I am. Hi, Dora. So I already shared with you who I am. And now let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to discuss today. So we're going to do all these things in a brief period. And I'm really hoping that this stays completely professional, even though you see some of my coats in the back, but I'm super hoping my dogs don't go crazy. I have 3 of them, and anytime I'm recording, my dogs love to bark. So yes, this is it, guys. This is the Sales and Lead Gen workshop. This is what we're going to go over. Mastering your mindset. We have to talk about that from the get-go. Otherwise, our strategy is just going to flop, right? We've got to have this in order. Understanding the difference between sales and marketing, you'll see why that's so important. Class 2, why even having a sales process is important. Why are we doing the hamster wheel thing when we can actually develop a sales process that we know is going to work? Understanding your audience, oh, so key, and a formula that you need for every single lead gen activity. Isn't it grand that we can use one formula for all of our lead gen activities? It's going to change your life. Class 3 is building your lead pipeline, the 4 ways you get sales, how to build that lead pipeline, and what we need to be doing weekly, consistent action. And then class 4 is mastering your prospecting. How do we go out there? What are we going to use? What's the messaging going to be? And then actually mastering your discovery call. Isn't it interesting that nowhere in this is master your beautiful landing page or master the bazillion funnels? No, because this is stuff that I've been teaching for literally 25 years, and it works. It works whether you want to make $250,000 next year in 2023, or if you want to make $1 million. No matter where you are in a stage of your business, this is going to work for you. It also is going to work no matter what industry you're in: service, product, coach, opening a dentistry, whatever it may be. This is going to work. And why I say that is because when I was developing top performing sales leaders, it was also, they were working with all industries, right? And when I was consulting with businesses and doing a lot of the implementation, also all industries. So this is not just for service. This is not just for product, okay? And it's also not cookie cutter. It's very customized, and you'll see. But the first thing we need to do is master our mindset. We need to master our mindset, because the mindset that's leading this strategy, if it's wonky and if it's wavering, activating a strategy on wonky mindset it's going to lay flat. So it's really critical that we get our mindset parallel and matching our strategy. So if we are not completely bought in, if we are not completely bought in to what we're selling and what our offer is, it's going to flop, because people are going to feel that and read that. So what your business is all about, you are your business. So what your business is all about, you are the most passionate person about when it comes to your business. So if you don't feel that way, then other people aren't going to feel that way. So believing that you are the absolute expert in what you do is number one in mindset. So if you're wavering on that, like, I'm not really sure I'm really bought into what I'm doing, then it needs to be relooked at. Okay. Belief in your audience. So if you're the expert in what you do, then it's a no-brainer for your audience to buy what you sell. And so believe that there's an audience out there that really needs what you have, right? So that audience, and you being the expert, that's the mindset that we need to work with to activate a strategy. So the strategy is only as good as the mindset that's leading it, right? So that's why we need to make sure that you believe in yourself, you believe in your audience, and of course, you believe in what you sell. You believe in your service, your product, your offer. Those first 3 things to get your mindset right and tight is going to help activate the strategy that I'm about to share right now. So if any of that is wavering, go back and go through some mindset work to see if what's missing. Is it belief in yourself, your audience, or your product? And then we can jump in. So I am assuming that you have your mindset ready and on track, and we're going to jump into what is the difference. First of all, what's the difference between sales and marketing, and why can't you have one without the other? So there is a lot of confusion out there around sales and marketing. There's a lot of confusion, and there's also a lot of noise around sales and marketing. First of all, people don't like the word sales. It makes them cringe. They feel like it's pushy, it's intrusive, all these words. There's a stigma around sales. So because there's a stigma around sales, let's say that this is the word sales, then people are shooting sales and saying, let's only focus on marketing. And what's happening is we're focusing on marketing so much, and we don't have sales, but because we don't have sales. That means sales is the lifeline of our business. If we're not selling, if we don't have someone buying what we're selling, if we don't have buyers, then we don't have a business, right? We're not a nonprofit organization, but we're leaning on marketing to get us sales. And that's what people are saying. Well, if you just do this marketing and you just do this marketing and you just do this marketing, then you'll get sales. Here is the absolute difference between sales and marketing and why you need both, okay? Marketing is inbound. Marketing is the way people find you. Marketing is how people find you. So marketing is how people find you. It is inbound. It's where people are finding you. And you're wondering why people aren't reaching out to you saying, I want to buy what you sell. It's because when you are building a business, you need outbound work where you're finding your people. Outbound is a sales process. Outbound is how you find your people, how you find your buyers, how you find your consumers. It's the activities that lead you to your buyer. It's outbound lead generating activity. That is a sales process. Marketing is inbound, how people find you. Inbound is you doing nurturing marketing so people can find you. But here's the thing, inbound marketing, way people find you, only works if you are doing the outbound work to find your people. And I'm hoping that's a huge aha moment for many of you right now, because you're spending all your time on inbound work, waiting for people to find you, reactive. I'm doing so much marketing. I'm doing so much posting. I'm doing my newsletters and my blogs, but people aren't buying. And that is because there is no outbound work being done. You are not going and finding your buyers. And once you do your outbound work, that lead gen work, and actually go and find your buyers, then inbound marketing is actually going to start nurturing, and it's going to start working, and you're going to get sales. But marketing alone is not going to get you sales. Inbound alone is not going to get you sales. And I work with marketing agencies. I have women that are experts in marketing. They run marketing agencies, and they will tell you the same thing. You need to be working with Dora so you can get sales. That's why they hire me, so they can get sales, because their mind is all inbound and all marketing and all visual and all funnel. And so they know that they need a marketing strategy and they need a sales process so they can get steady clients. All right, so now that we understand the difference between marketing and sales, and that they work together as a team, that marketing is nurturing sales, and you have to have that. Think about a corporate company, a large organization. There's a marketing team and a sales team, right? They work together, right? It's not one or the other. It's the same thing for you. We have to have both. So what is this? What is a sales formula? How do I put together a sales process? So if I'm doing marketing and hoping that I get some inbound, then where do I start for building a sales process and doing outbound work? How do I build my lead pipeline? How do I build this pipeline of clients coming in, okay? So every single lead gen activity that I'm going to show you today has this formula on top. This is the parent formula you're going to use when you're putting together every single lead activity that's going to drive sales and build your pipeline, okay? So this formula that's used for every activity is quality times quantity equals results. Quality means every single lead gen activity that you do, outbound activity that you do to get clients, means that you have to have a target audience next to it. So if you don't know who your audience is, then you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, or it's Jello on the counter and the Jello is going everywhere. So you need a target audience. You need to know who your ideal customer profile is. That is quality. That means you are targeting your audience. So once again, when you're putting together lead generation activities, outbound activities, that's going to support building your pipeline, you need to have an audience connected to that. Who are you targeting? That is the quality, okay? And then quantity. Quantity means that there's a volume next to it. This is a measured activity. This is not, I'm just going to go out there and target a bunch of people. You are building the quality audience. You are measuring with how many people you're reaching out to, and then you have results. Results is your goal. So this is like in corporate world, this would be key performance indicators. This is how we are measuring our conversion, how we're measuring what we're doing. So every activity needs to have a measurement. This is your data. We have to have data so we know what works and we're not just tossing things out. Of course, we have to experiment. We're not going to know out of the gate exactly what works, but this is what you're going to use when you're building out your lead gen pipeline or your lead gen activity, so you can get a really bulky, big pipeline of clients. So quality, audience, quantity, how many, results is your goal. Goal doesn't have to be sales. Goal could be meetings. Goal could be conversions. Goal could be whatever. It just has a goal with it now. So now that we know that inbound is how people find you, and that's marketing. Outbound is how you find your buyers, and we have to be doing that, and we're not doing it. And we know there's a formula for doing that. Quality times quantity equals results. Now, what are the ways that we actually get sales? How do we build this lead pipeline? There are 4 ways for you to build your lead pipeline. There are 4 ways for you to get sales, and that's what we're going to go over right now. Number 1, outbound equals outreach. Outbound equals outreach. Outbound equals outreach. So outreach needs to be done every single week. When we talk about the 4 ways to get sales, this is a weekly plan. This is something that you're putting together and you're activating and doing weekly, not a one and done, not, hey, Dora, I tried it and it didn't work, not, hey, Dora, I did this for a day and nobody's responding. This is weekly. This is what I've been doing for 20 years. We do this weekly, and it can be a lot of fun. It really, really can, because you're building your lead pipeline and you're seeing sales at the end of it, and it's converting and it works so well. So outreach is the first way that you get sales and build your lead pipeline. Outreach is simply reaching out to your ideal customer profile. So outreach is simply that. Am I directly reaching out to my audience every single week? I don't mean social media. I mean outbound, direct outreach. So do I have my target audience? Do I have a number of how many I'm reaching out to? And do I have a goal? It's that simple. So if my target audience is health coaches, and I am targeting health coaches with my new course, I have a list of health coaches of 100. I'm reaching out to all 100 with a goal of setting 10 meetings with them. That's outreach. And so when everyone gets a little worried about, well, how do I do that? we're going to talk about how we're going to do that with your messaging and what your call looks like. But every week you are doing outreach to your target audience. Second, the second way is through partnership. So direct outreach is critical. It works, guys. It works. Why it works so well is because no one is doing it right now. And you will find that you do not have much competition. And you'll also find that as long as you keep the spam away and keep the pitch away, people will respond and want to talk to you. Second way is outreach to partners. So we did outreach to target audience. Now we're doing outreach to partners. What a lot of people like to call this is referrals and word of mouth. But we're building a strategy here. We're building a lead gen strategy to build a pipeline. So we're using that formula, quality times quantity equals results. We're doing outreach to build referral partners, to build actual relationships with partners where we can get consistent crossover referrals, okay? So building out power partners is one of my clients likes to call it. This is more than just referrals and word of mouth. This is documented in your CRM system, who your partners are, how often you're reaching out to them, how often you're getting referrals. Also a targeted audience of partners. So how do I select who my partners should be? Your partners should have the same audience as you do. They are working with the same people as you, okay? So that's partners. The third is building your ecosystem. I love this one. It works so well. It's so powerful, but what is it, Dora? So let me give you a story of what building your ecosystem is. When I left corporate finance and never had worked anywhere but the corporate world and moved into a leadership role in a brand new fintech complete startup, total white space. This was right after a regulation passed called crowdfunding. And our model, our business was crowdfunding. It was how to get money into minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses' hands so they could start and scale their business. That's what we were doing. And no one knew what crowdfunding was. We were a complete startup, so nobody knew who we were. And also we were in a brand new market. So we had three whammies going for us: new product, new market, new business. So I had to get to work, right? I had to get to work doing my outreach to my audience, doing my outreach to my partners, and building my ecosystem. And how I built my ecosystem, what this means is going out broad to a broad audience. So instead of partners, just one-on-one partners, I had to find out where my audience was hanging out broadly. So my audience at the time was small business owners, getting small business owners money. So I started local. So I want you to start local when it comes to building your ecosystem. And so I started local here in Cleveland, Ohio, and found out where all the small businesses were hanging out. And they were hanging out at the economic development organizations. So they were hanging out at the nonprofit organizations where they could get free resources around how they were going to build their businesses. So they were hanging out in the entrepreneurial hubs, the innovation hubs, the incubator hubs, the economic development organizations, the community development organizations. And that's what I researched and found out. And that's where I showed up. I went there and I became really close with all of the personnel and faculty at all of those organizations. I started teaching workshops. I started talking on their podcasts. I started speaking on their panels. Anything small business. If you were a small business and you were hanging out in these places, I was there. And lo and behold, really quickly, people started to get to know me. They got to know me. And then I started to get referrals all over the place. And still to this day, 3.5 years later, I'm still getting calls saying, hey, can you help this client? Hey, can you help this client? And being asked to continue to teach workshops. Building your ecosystem works. It works so well. Yes, it takes work to figure out where you need to go to build the ecosystem, but I just gave you that storyline so you can start thinking about where do you need to go to start building out your ecosystem. You think of yourself in the center here as the expert of what you do and where you need to go. What are the large organizations that need to know who you are based on who your audience is? This is a lot of fun. This will last you a lifetime. If you build your ecosystem and you start spending time on it right now, it will last you a lifetime, and it'll also trigger things really quickly for you if you're out there doing it. Okay. Last one, here we go. So this is your inbound marketing. So of course we're going to have inbound marketing so it can nurture the outbound activities. So we're building a lead pipeline and we're getting you sales. So for us to build the lead pipeline and get you sales, we're going to add marketing to it. Marketing is going to nurture all of those activities that you're doing, the outbound outreach, the outbound partnership, and building your ecosystem. So inbound marketing is going to nurture that. It's not going to get you sales out of the gate, but it needs to happen. Why? Because it shows that you're consistently showing up for your audience. It builds trust and it builds credibility. So rule of thumb when it comes to marketing is that you're showing up at least 3 times a week on 2 platforms and you're sending out your newsletter. So you can do whatever else you want when it comes to marketing. You can toss SEO in there, you can add ads in there, whatever you want to do, but know that your marketing strategy is going to nurture your sales strategy. And my marketing director will tell you the same thing. She always says, Dora, when you refer somebody to me, make sure that they're either working with you or they understand that they have an outbound sales strategy for their marketing to work. For their marketing to work. So those are the 4 ways that you get sales. Outbound, direct outbound to your target audience, direct outbound to build partnership relationships, building your ecosystem weekly. This is all stuff we do weekly, and then marketing, your inbound marketing strategy. Those are the 4 ways you get sales using that formula, quality times quantity equals results. Here's an example of a weekly sales plan. At the very bottom, you'll see a little weekly sales activation plan Excel sheet or Google Sheets. Now, this is something that I have for all of my clients. This is something that we would put together during your VIP day. And this gives you an example of what it looks like. So an example of a weekly sales plan, a weekly lead generation plan of what you would be doing is outreach. Now, when it comes to outreach, I like to A/B test this unless you know exactly how to land the results. So outreach typically has 2 categories weekly where you're doing outreach to 2 different targeted audience, which with a different activity. So here's an example: outreach. Do 50 DMs using the coffee chat prospecting script with a goal of 5 meetings. So you're sending out 50 DMs to a targeted audience with a goal of setting 5 meetings. And in the same breath to a different targeted audience, you are sending out a drip campaign, an email drip campaign to 100 of your targeted audience with a specific outcome of getting meetings, open rates, click rates. The third would be setting up 2 meetings to meet with partners for the week. And the fourth would be speaking on 2 podcasts within your audience. And the fifth would be posting 4 times on your 2 platforms and sending out your newsletter. So this is just an example, a very high level example of a weekly sales plan. Of building your lead pipeline, but it gives you an idea of like specifically how to prioritize what your activities need to be. And you also see that they're all using the quality times quantity equals results formula. Okay, so let's take a minute here because this was a lot, and ask yourself, how the heck am I supposed to do this? Dora just gave me so much stuff to do, and now how am I supposed to do this? It can so be done. and it can be done with ease. It doesn't take a lot of work to do this when your systems are in place too, right? Your systems and your mindset. Typically, when you're building a lead gen pipeline, think about if you were to have a sales team and you were to have a marketing team, your sales team and your marketing team, they're working 40 hours a week each, right? So your commitment to your business and your commitment to building your lead pipeline is typically around 7 to 10 hours a week to commit to action around building your pipeline. That's really not that much. That's how much this plan usually takes, is 7 to 10 hours a week. That's really doable, right? So I'm not asking you to spend 40 hours a week on doing this. Now you absolutely can, and you will by far be a phenomenal student. But the expectation, what I typically see with my clients, is it takes about 7 to 10 hours a week. Okay, so now it's how do I do this? I know everything that you just shared with me, Dora, but how do I do this? What does this look like? So we're going to talk about how to leverage prospecting and how to leverage your conversations. That's what we're going to talk about. So building a lead pipeline and the 4 ways that you get sales requires for you to show up. It requires for you to show up. Why I'm saying it requires for you to show up is you are your best salesperson. And if you don't believe that, I'm going to give you the skill set so you can believe that, because really, truly, you are your best salesperson. Why? Because you are the one that's most passionate about what you do. No one else in the world is more passionate about what you do than you. And your role is to influence others, to show them how valuable what you do is to them. Right? So I'm not going to teach you how to be a spammy salesperson, how to be a pushy, yucky salesperson to feel gross at all. I'm going to teach you how to show up and bring value and results so your people, your audience, all of that work that you're doing will convert into sales. My nose is running, sorry. So when I say do outreach, you're saying, well, how do I do outreach, Dora? What does this look like? Well, I'm going to show you right now. This is what the script looks like. It is a very simple script because there is an art to conversation, and there is an art to connecting, and there is an art to selling. And it starts with you and your passion. It starts with you, that mindset, really believing in yourself, your audience, and your offer. It's your belief in that you can do this outbound work and not rely on marketing, because your business is you. Okay? So if your business is you and you're passionate and you've got this mindset and you have got this plan, I just handed you the plate. Handed you the plan. Now it's up to you to actually do it. And I'm also giving you the how. I'm giving you all the words that you need to use to how. So if I know that I need to get 10 meetings with my potential buyer, I have no idea what I'm going to say on those conversations. So here we go. I'm going to help you. So prospecting, how do I leverage how do I leverage that I am the best salesperson, and how do I actually talk to my clients, my potential clients, my ideal prospects at target? So here's the prospecting script guide, and I gave you some time. I've left it on here for a while. I want you to take your pen to paper and start thinking about what your prospecting script is going to be. And I have some examples for you. But if I'm reaching out to 25 prospects this week to get some meetings, this is what it's going to look like. So let's just say that I'm a health coach and I'm reaching out to 25 potential leads, right? prospects, and that's building my lead pipeline. This is the prospecting script I'm going to use. Step 1, you want to know them before you know them. So tailor and customize that script. Research their most recent social media, find an article on them, find something in common. Step 2, introduction. How you say hello matters. Using their name. Tell them who you are by introduction, and also why you're looking to connect. Identify some type of connection and compliment them if possible. Make the ask, and the ask is never to pitch. Ugh. We are just asking for a meeting, conversation, coffee chat, opening up the dialogue. That's all we're doing, is opening up the dialogue. And then give them, this is the most important piece, is giving them a specific time to meet. Never leave it open-ended. Let me know if you have any time after the first of the year. That's leaving it open-ended. And what happens there, this is so important. What happens there is when somebody's reading a message from you, and at the end, it says, let me know if you have time over the next few weeks, they're going to close that message out because they don't have time to be figuring out their calendar. But if you close end it for them, saying, I'll go ahead and extend a link to my calendar, or does next Tuesday or Thursday at 2 p.m. work for you? It's close-ended right then and there. They are looking at their calendar. They are potentially looking at your link or seeing if they're available, and they're going to respond right then and there. Because the moment that they stop looking at that message, you are no longer top of mind, and they will not look at that message ever again. This is such a key piece to a prospecting script, is just that last sentence of closing it so you actually get the meeting. It is all about getting the meeting, getting the appointment. Here's some examples. Hi, Jessica. Hope you're having a great Monday. By way of introduction, my name is Dora, founder of Gypsy Soul Coaching. I see we run in some of the same women's circles, and I'm absolutely addicted to your podcast. It's my everything on Monday mornings. I wanted to reach out to see if you'd like to grab a virtual coffee, get to know each other. What's the easiest way for us to calendar up? Do you have next Tuesday or Thursday at 3 p.m. available? Hope to hear from you. That's all I did. Oh my gosh, there's no pitch in there. There's no sales in there. It is just a very lovely prospecting script to connect with my ideal client. Ah, isn't that wonderful? So you're probably wondering, well, wait a minute, what's the difference between a coffee chat and a consult? And oh my gosh, if I'm just scheduling coffee chats, how am I going to actually sell to them? I know what you're thinking in there. Guess what? It's all the same. It's all the same. The art of selling is within a conversation. And whatever you decide to title it is up to you. Whether you title it a coffee chat, a discovery call, a consult, whatever you call it. Once you reach out to your ideal customer with a very lovely, non-salesy prospecting script, and they get on a call with you, you have an opportunity to walk them down a path to see if what you have for them will bring them serious value. No, it's not a bait and switch, and I'll show you why. I do this all the time, and it's never a bait and switch, because I am showing up as authentically, genuinely interested in that person. And I am only going to pitch to them if I can 100% solve their problem. So building my pipeline requires me to do the outbound work, to schedule calls, and to walk them down a path. And that is in addition to all the other things that I'm doing in my business. And this needs to be priority number one. Why? It needs to be priority number one. Why are you asking Dora this? Because it is income generating activities. Sales is income generating activities. It is your pay time versus your no pay time. This is what's going to get you paid. This is what's going to grow your business. Spending your time on all the other stuff, I have another workshop for that. Spending your time on all of the no pay time, building your offers, building your content, all of that is necessary, but it's not getting you paid. It is not affecting your bottom line. building your lead pipeline, having a sales process, generating income activities. That's what's going to hit your bottom line. So when you resist this, I know it because I see it with my clients all the time. When you resist this, you are resisting clients. You are resisting growing your business. You are resisting sales and growth because you're hoping that maybe that marketing that you outsourced is going to work. All right. Skipping that. Okay, so I gave you some prospecting script guide, right? So the steps to building the prospecting script, you can hit pause and go back and hit pause and go back. And now you've done all this and you have meetings on your calendar. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna actually talk to my ideal audience. Oh my gosh, right? And how do I do it? So I'm going to get to know this person. I don't know how to do this. And I want you to make sure you're going into these calls without the outcome of you selling. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to sell to this person, you're going to freak yourself out and you're going to be defeated before you even get on the call. So like I said, I don't care what you call it, a coffee chat, a discovery call, a strategy call, there's an art to the conversation with your audience, whether it's a partner or whether it is a prospect. And we're going to go through each and every step right now. Okay. This is how you're going to get 80% conversions to sales right here. Step one. Do your research. Do not get on a call with someone and not know why you're on the call or who they are or what they're about. You're the one who reached out to them. You better have an idea of who they are. And this is what most people know to do, right? So most of us know how to do that. The second thing most of us know how to do is build rapport. We do it, right? Really easily. We get on the call. Hi, how are you? How's the weather out there? Where are you from? How many kids do you have? That's the building rapport. And the reason why it's effective in any conversation is it's building rapport. It's starting to gather some type of connection. But what happens after building rapport is that we don't really know what to do after that. After that, we're kind of like, I don't know who's going to start the conversation and how does this conversation go? And it gets a little weird and wonky. As you can see, I'm doing this little like dance because no one knows what to do. You're leading this conversation. You have an opportunity to lead this conversation, and the person on the other end is going to be thrilled that you're leading this conversation because they don't know what to do either. This is how you lead the conversation. You start with an agenda and an outcome. Do you call it an agenda and an outcome during the call? No, but I'm teaching it. You start with an agenda and an outcome, okay? So the agenda is setting up the conversation. So there is a mutual agreement of how the conversation is going to go. So there's intent around the conversation and it's not just Jello on the counter again. So an agenda sounds like this. So thank you so much for hopping on the call with me. Nice getting to know you for a second, whatever that building rapport was. And then it's, I would love, my goal for the call is to get to know you, get to know your background, what you're doing, and where you're going. So that's really what it's informal, but that's what I'm really looking to do. Do you have any other goals for the call? And usually they say, no, that sounds great. So then you just got that mutual agreement. Okay, got a mutual agreement. This is the agenda. This is what I want to know about, this is what I want to do during the call. And they agree to the same. So you set that informal agenda. And then directly after the agenda, you're going to set an outcome. Why this is so important is because it gives everyone the ability to say yes, no, or later in the beginning of the call instead of the end. So the outcome is a mind-blowing because you're setting up the call not only for this is what I want to talk about, but at any time you can say yes, no, or, maybe later. So the outcome goes like this. So typically when I have a lot of these calls often because I love to connect. I love to connect and get to know people. So But typically one of three things usually happens during these, connection calls. Either one, I find that there's an opportunity for us to work together and one of us brings like some serious value to each other, and that's just so awesome and that's great. Or two, we get to know each other, but there's really no connection right now, or nothing that we can find that brings value, and that's okay. At least we, had the conversation, right? Or three, there's so much and we've just tapped the surface and we just need to schedule another call. So that's the outcome. The why, the outcome again is so important. Then you finish it with, does that sound okay with you? So you're always asking them, so you get that mutual decision that we're making a mutual agreement, agenda, mutual agreement, outcome, mutual agreement. And now you're teed up. You're teed up to be able to go through this call, knowing that you both agreed on the agenda and you both agreed on the outcome. Cool. So cool. So here's the meat and potatoes. Once we get past the agenda and the outcome, which is usually 30 seconds, then we go straight to tell me everything. This is our profiling. This is where we're setting it up and taking them down a path to see if what we have will bring value to them. So this entire process is, the better you get at profiling, the more opportunity you're going to have to actually share what you do with them at the end of the call, to actually share a pitch, right? So if you can't get this profiling, if you can't get through these three sections, then you don't pitch at the end. Okay. So the profiling funnel goes like this. There's three different levels of profiling. Okay. You have questions after questions after questions. Now the questions are great because it gets people talking, and you want to be doing 20% of the talking and they need to be doing 80% of the talking. That's like your ideal goal. You also want them to go first. Before you share your stuff, you want them to share their stuff first. Remember, you're in charge, you're leading the call. So profiling means first level questions, secondary guided questions, and third is pain point guided questions. So what we normally do, what we're all used to doing, is open guided questions. And that's where we stop. We just do the, tell me about yourself, tell me what you do. And that's the most we do. We don't go to the second level and we don't go to the third level. And that's where we get stuck. So the art of conversation is doing the second level and the third level. So the first level is, tell me everything, I'd love to hear. And then people say, well, where should I start? Start wherever you'd like to start. And usually they start just telling you about what they do now. Right? So we want to know more than that. We want to know more than just what they do now. This is where you're building out your own customized profiling questions. This is where we would spend time during that VIP together or long term, and we would really figure out what are the best profiling questions for your audience. And most of the first level profiling questions are pretty boilerplate, but the second and the third is where they get really customized. So for example, if I'm a business coach, right? So if I am talking with my ideal client and I'm on a coffee chat, I'm on a discovery call, whatever the conversation is, I've done my agenda, I've done my outcome. Now I'm asking, tell me all about yourself. Feel free to give me everything. And they decide to start with what they do now, right? I'm taking them down a path. I want to find out if what they do and what I do, if I can bring value, if I can really bring value to what they do. So my secondary questions are going to be relative to what I do, right? So it's going to be somewhat relative. So I'm going to ask, if I'm a business coach and I have my audience in front of me, I'm going to ask questions that are relative. So the questions are going to be, well, give me some examples of how you got to what you're doing right now. What have been the challenges for you? How did you start what you were doing or what you're doing now? What got you into that? I'm sorry. See, I told you my dogs were going to be annoying. But these profiling questions are all about getting to the third level, and the third level of profiling questions are your pain point questions. So if you profile really well and ask all of these great questions that are very open-ended and get the other person talking, then finally when you get to the third level, you're able to ask the pain point questions. So you're able to ask questions like, have you solved this problem? On a level of 1 to 10, tell me how important it is for you to solve this problem. So those are the profiling questions. As I said, they can be extremely customized, but this is the meat and potatoes of the discovery call. Now it's step 5. So after you've gone through all of the profiling of them and you've taken notes about everything that you wanted to find out about them, then it's your turn. And this is where you get really good at being able to share your story between 3 to 5 minutes, because people typically can't listen longer than that. And this is where you have the opportunity to also get vulnerable and share your story in a way that doesn't bring just you and your work and what you do, but also your personal self, your background personally, because people want to know you. They don't buy your product or offer, they buy you. They want to connect and trust you. So sharing your story in that way is really important. You don't go in and just say, well, this is what I do and this is how I could help you. No. You share your story. This is how you got to where you are. This is why you're doing what you're doing. And you don't pitch anything to them at all. Okay? Once you're done telling your story, be aware that they're probably not going to have a bazillion questions like you had, because they don't have this discovery call guide. They don't know all of the levels of profiling questions. They just don't know. So they may not have all of those questions like you had. Okay. So you had all these questions. You were able to get to an emotional pain point, and now that you were able to get to that emotional pain point, you know that you can actually solve a problem for them. So now you get to summarize. If you weren't able to get to this point, then you don't summarize. And let me tell you why. Because on a summary, you are now sharing this is what a summary sounds like. Based on what you're sharing with me, or based on what you shared with me, thank you so much for sharing all of those things. But based on those things that you shared with me, I think I might be able to solve a few of those things. Do you mind if I share that with you? You're asking for their permission to then pitch. So now that you have summarized, said these are the 3 areas that I know I can help you on, I've given you that summary. Now you can actually pitch. Once again, you're only pitching if you can absolutely 100% solve a problem, bring them value, whatever that may be. Okay. And so a pitch is very short and sweet. We are not pitching a ton of things. We are sharing briefly what we do, how we help them, and what the price point is. And that's all we're doing. So it would be very quickly, based on everything that you shared with me, here's how I think it could help you. Do you mind if I share that with you? And they say, yes, go ahead. Well, I work with women like you. I am a full suite business coach. We work one-on-one for 6 to 12 months. My price point is anywhere from 12 to 20,000. That's it. I close it. I don't say anything else. And then if they start asking questions, that's a great sign. Can you tell me more about that? How do you work with them? You want their engagement. So you keep the script of the pitch super, super tight and short so you can see how engaged they are. So if they're super engaged and they're asking lots of questions, great. If they're not, then you missed the mark somewhere along the way. And that's okay too, because we're going to miss the mark. I still missed the mark. It happens. So you miss the mark somewhere along the way and they're not asking questions, then you want to re-summarize. Did I get this right? Did I miss something? Right? And then at the very And that's where you overcome objections. So if someone says, yeah, that sounds really great, but there's no way I could afford your price point right now. That's just like so over my budget right now. That's where you handle overcoming objections. And to be honest, the number one objection out there is price point for everyone. People are just like, money, oh my God, money, right? How do I let go of money? So really quickly, I have a whole handling objections workshop, but for this alone, handling the objection for money is simply this. If we were able to come to some type of solution around money, is this something you would want to do? And then you solve it together. You solve it together. Because money is just money. It doesn't need to be a barrier, but it always is the biggest barrier. So if we could solve that issue about money, would you want to do this? Okay. I'm not going to go into all the depth stuff around objections because it would take another hour. Putting it all together. So putting it all together means this. 1, you have your mindset. Your mindset's ready. You're ready to go. 2, you understand the difference between inbound and outbound. You understand the difference between sales and marketing. You're ready to go. You're ready to build your lead pipeline. Number 3, you know the 4 ways that you get sales, and you understand that each of those has a target audience, and you understand that there is a formula for all your lead generating activity. Number whatever, I don't know where I'm at. You want to know how. So what is the prospecting script that I need to be using to do all of this lead gen work? And then how do I actually present myself during a conversation? What is this art that you do during this conversation where I show up genuine and I only pitch if I can 100% solve their problem? And I'm going to put this all together, and I'm going to do it over and over and rinse and repeat weekly with those four ways that you get sales. That is putting it all together. Whoo-wee. So the sales and lead gen workshop is yours. You get to keep this, hitting pause and play and rinse and repeat. As I mentioned, VIP 3 hours. We work on this fully together. We can do that at your leisure. The way that we would do that is we would schedule it together. So please let me know if that's something that interests you. In addition, there are a few ways that you can work with me. You can work with me one-on-one for 6 months to 12 months. You can also work with me in small mini groups throughout the year. And of course, this VIP day that I'm mentioning to you here. So feel free to find me at the Women Who Soar Facebook group, gypsysoulcoaching.com. And thank you so much. I hope this was really helpful. Have a great day.